longer can Sir Cliff Richard sing the Beatles' When I'm 64 in a literal sense, because today, October the 14th, he's finally reached that milestone, and to celebrate, he's releasing his 127th single.
Jeez.
It's already been very well received. We were listening to it earlier, and it's really good. As it should, of course. Cliff is the only British recording artist to have a #1 single at the top in the charts in 5 straight decades. Here's his new one, Something Is Going On. Cliff joins us now. Hiya.
Hi.
That's nice, that.
It's
nice
a really
song.
nice, catchy song, actually. It's lovely.
Yeah, you need to. It starts off and you think, oh, what's this going to be like? And then it goes straight into that kind of like a chorus.
Yeah.
It's really important to have something that you can hook into.
Yeah.
Do you know, I've been trying to work out all day which song it reminds me of, melodically, and it's very, I think it's quite like, has the same mood-enhancing effect of New Kid in Town by the Eagles, which is a beautiful song.
Oh, yeah.
Very song, beautiful song.
Yeah,
It's got
yeah.
kind of that melodic...
Well, I've always been amazed in the pop rock world, for instance, when you think there are only like 8 notes in an octave. Once you get out of that, you move into the go an octave up. How they've ever been able to write so many songs.
Yeah.
How there were so few writs, when you think about it, very few writs about plagiarism.
Yeah.
And yet somehow or another they still managed
Yeah.
to do it. So that's why you'll find sometimes a chord sequence will
You get
be
a
enough
resonance,
to
yeah.
make you think you've heard it before.
Yeah.
But it is
we all
beautiful.
thought this morning when we were watching your video that it was filmed somewhere like Morocco because of all those beautiful sounds.
It was Holland Park, dear.
Oh well, never
And
mind.
a Moroccan house in Holland Park? Or?
No, it was, I believe it was the original owner of the store, Debenhams. And it's a huge, great house. It's on sale, by the way, 28 million.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I've read about that
Have you-
one.
And it's tiles everywhere. Tiles on the
Yeah.
outside, tiles on the inside. It's lovely. It's beautiful to look at. But the only thing is, of course, when it was done in, I don't know, turn of the century or whenever it was, you had to live with that decor forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't put new wallpaper over
Put
it.
me
It'd
off,
be
it's
criminal.
a bit strong. It's a bit
Yeah,
strong, I
but
think. Well, look, you're 64 today, and happy
birthday.
birthday. And
Yeah.
it, you know, it has to be said, because it goes without saying that you don't look it. And it seemed, I was telling Judy, I remember watching a news report when you were 40, when you turned 40, they filmed you in Hyde Park, I think. Do you remember? On your 40th birthday.
I remember my 40th birthday,
You
yeah.
gave a big press conference in the park somewhere. I remember seeing it on the telly.
Yeah, I do
and it
remember
seems to me that for a very long time, probably for a quarter of a century or more, the nation is obsessed with your age. It's constantly spoken about.
Well,
How does he look so young?
But Richard, I think it's because starting when I did start, I mean, for a start, it was infancy. Rock and roll was in its infancy.
Yep.
Nobody knew. We sang, rock and roll is here to stay, but we didn't know it was going to be here to stay.
No.
Suddenly it's turned out to be an art form that worth sticking with, and suddenly I find myself, I'm the first person who had 10 years in show business, and then I'm the first person
I get it.
You're
on
so
the
you're
front
always
wave,
slightly ahead. So you're the first person at I'm the first person to get 5 decades as #1s. And it's just by dint of the fact that I started when I started.
And you had a good start. I mean, we were at a fundraising do that you were at the other night where you were performing, and it was just you and your Fender semi-acoustic, which you auctioned off, and you sang Move It, your first hit.
Yeah.
And I'd forgotten how rocky Move It was. That was a rocking song.
Well, they say that it's the first real American-sounding rock and roll record ever made outside America.
Yeah.
Because we were all influenced by, Elvis and Little Richard and everybody, but we weren't able to make that sound here. And I still think it was a kind of happy accident, because my next record was not as anywhere near as good as Move
What was
It.
your next one?
It was called High Class Baby, and it went back to being an attempt at copying.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas Move It came out fresh, all the faders were up, and mixing it was really easy. They just pushed the faders up there, and everybody heard everything, and it sounded really
Yeah.
good.
Did you play guitar on that at the time? 'Cause
No, I didn't.
Didn't you? So have you learnt the guitar if you were playing the other night? Because it was a terrific guitar riff.
Well, in those days, that particular record, my first record, only 2 of my band played, the drummer and the guy who wrote Move It, who played the da-da-da-dung, da-da-da-da, that section of it. But we had a professional, at that stage we were barely professional, professional bass player and a guitarist called Ernie Shear, who created da-down, down, da-down, da-down, down, down, ga-da-da-down. He created that intro. And, so many guitarists can't play that intro. And because no one told me, and I still don't understand it, there's what they call a 2/4 bar in the middle. Normally 4 beats in a bar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2. When in the middle of that da-da-da, there's a 1, 2, 1, 2.
Yeah.
And it throws everybody.
Like a shimmy.
Yeah, it's a really weird thing. But I mean, I learnt to play it by ear, so I didn't know anything about 2/4 bars. I still don't know what 2/4 bar is.
Just copied it.
We actually had our first taste of your wine last weekend.
Oh, did you?
In
A
Portugal,
bottle of
yeah.
your
Oh, yeah.
rosé.
Yeah.
It's
Which one was it? The
gorgeous.
rosé?
The rosé. It's really
the
nice.
rosé.
Yeah.
The rosé.
Very dark rosé, actually.
I chose a dark. I think we're going to lighten it a little this year. But also, did you find it was a pretty strong wine? It's like a 13.5%.
13.5%, yeah.
Probably a little too much.
Yeah.
But it was a brilliant year last year. 2003, as you know, the weather was so fantastic. The sugar content was so great. They could hardly control the alcohol forming as we were pouring it in. It's going. So this year, I said, couldn't you possibly take it down to like 12.5%?
A bit lighter, yeah.
So it's a little bit lighter, and therefore you could drink it more happily at lunchtime without feeling you've got to go to bed.
But it's met with huge critical acclaim, your wine, hasn't it?
Yeah, the red wine, I don't know what people thought I was going to do. I mean, obviously, I don't make the wine. I can't make wine, but it was my farm and my name and my idea, so to speak. But this guy is from Australia, David Baverstock, and he studied all his winemaking, making port in the north of Portugal. And then he's moved down south, and he wanted to be the first man to make a good red wine in the Algarve, which is not known. In the Book of World Wines, it says in the Algarve, it says, and this is a real put-down, poor Algarve, we're changing that. It said there are basically 4 cooperatives in the Algarve, and they bottle headaches for tourists. And I thought, oh my goodness. Anyway, he said, this needn't be true. And he's made a really good wine, and the critics really liked it.
Yeah, I know.
I got better critics for my wine than ever I got for my album or film.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Well, listen, we were looking at listening to the album as well this morning, and there was a general consensus, and I wouldn't say this if it hadn't been said, there was a general consensus that, Tom Jones had a moment about 8 or 9 years ago where his career, which had been going extremely well, suddenly kicked in again. He really did go back into overdrive and still is. There's a buzz around you and the new album and stuff. Do you think you're in that moment?
Well, I'm aware that there's a buzz because, I suddenly was given a list after just having 1 week to talk about it. And if the list had 25 or 30 radio stations marked on it, 25 of the 30 had it on their A list. And I'm thinking, I don't remember that happening for a long time. Yeah. And maybe the feeling that
That's what we were talking about. That was it. That you were back on the playlists. Yeah,
yes,
that was it.
Not everywhere. And, and you can't force, you can't make people play your record. I mean, if you could, I would. I mean, it would be so much easier. It's so much harder now to have a success. Yeah. But there seems to be a buzz, and maybe, that feeling I had 2 years ago where I wanted to get away from Britain, it was almost too easy here. You become comfortable, no edge, no challenge. I went to Nashville where I didn't know anybody. Yeah. They all kind of knew about me. I didn't know them at all personally. And somehow or another, together, we've managed to do it. To me, the album feels high-tech, contemporary, but live.
Well, look, happy birthday. We also
happy birthday. We got a surprise for you. Got a little surprise for you. Shall I describe it? Or
yeah, okay.
All right, okay. You did a whole string of Saturday night shows with Olivia Newton-John back in the 70s.
Yeah.
Lovely Olivia Newton-John. And we found, I don't know how we found this, but we found a clip of you singing the Beatles When I'm 64.
Oh, yeah.
when you were 31.
I can remember singing
Yeah, and here you are.
Where?
When I get older, losing my hair, many years from now, will you still be sending me a Valentine? Birthday greetings, a bottle of wine. And if I get home at 2:45, would you slam the door? Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64? Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
There was a cake. There was a cake there, and we've got a cake here. And to bring it on, your co-star from Summer Holiday, Melvin Hayes. Bring it on, please.
No.
Melvin. Yeah. Hello, Melvin.
Oh, no.
Okay. To you.
How are you, Melvin? Thank you. Thank you.
Speed it up a bit.
Happy birthday, dear Sutcliffe. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, Melvin, thank you for
Hello.
being here. Very quickly, what are you doing tonight? You going out somewhere? Are you having a
No,
quiet night in,
well,
or
I've
what?
got to get up really early tomorrow. I've got to be up by about 7. I've got to leave by 7:45, and I'm going to Germany to do a TV show there, and then another show on the Saturday.
So a quick dinner or something?
So I can't be in bed before. I've got to be in bed by 4.
You youngsters are all the same.
It's ridiculous.
Okay. Well, look, many happy returns.
Thank you
once
so
again.
much.
You look fantastic. It was
Thank
amazing.
you. Well,
Thanks a lot,
thank
Melbourne.
you.
It was really good.
Bless you.
Cheers.
Nice to see you.
And that, my friends, is it for, what is it, Thursday?
Tonight.
Yeah, tonight.
Thursday, yeah.
Tomorrow, we're going to be previewing